Hi guys, and welcome back to another Dot Race video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 21. Round 19 of our World Championship is upon us, and it's time for the Sepang International Circuit of the Malaysian GP. Now you guys know how critical and how crucial this round is going to be, with only 2 more rounds left of this championship remaining here in Sepang and then Valencia next time out. We have got to do the business here today in Malaysia, otherwise we could have a tremendous championship battle on our hands in Valencia. Now cast your minds back to the winter test here in MotoGP. We did the best time in the winter test, and that was on an old Aprilia that isn't quite up to date compared to the Aprilia we're using right now. This Aprilia that we're using right now has had so much improvements, so much sort of upgrades, and just a better handling motorcycle in total. So this is the ultimate package of the Aprilia RSGP compared to the winter testing, and we were able to finish the winter testing in top position. You better believe that the goal here today in the practice session and in the qualifying is to get the top position in every session we possibly can. Now previously we've had some wonderful Grand Prix, and because we've qualified really well. If we don't qualify well here, we're going to have that sort of difficult situation on our hands, but I am extremely confident we're going to do well here in Sepang. So on board the Aprilia RSGP, the medium front, the medium rear, traction control on 3, anti-wheelie 4, engine brake 4 with power setting 3. You probably know the score right now, and of course if you haven't watched the rest of my Grand Prix videos and you're sitting and watching this one for the very first time, all you need to know is that Johan Zarco is 12 points behind us in the World Championship battle, and Pecco Bagnaia a couple more points behind. So we are leading the World Championship going into Sepang. We could potentially win it here, providing we get the Grand Prix victory and Johan Zarco finishes lower than 5th or 6th place, I do believe. Then we could be looking at a championship right here today, but although we're not sure yet, and of course if you're not sure how I do these things, we'll start with the practice and qualifying here right now at 4 PM, and in 4 hours time I'll release the race at 8 PM. So for the time being, first lap completed and we're in 5th position, just 6.5 tenths of a second away from Fabio Quartararo. Keep an eye out on Joan Mir on the left hand side of your screen. Of course he is still the current world champion, and with 2 red sectors for Joan Mir already, and Pecco Bagnaia down there a little bit further beyond in 5th position. He's got an orange sector as well by his name, but Grant into the first sector, a 10th up. So this is going to be looking pretty rosy for us right now if we can maintain some good speed on this second lap. I don't know how many laps I'm going to need to secure a place in qualifying 2, but ultimately the only thing we really need to focus on right now is to qualify in qualifying 2 without having to go into the first qualifying session. Of course that first qualifying session is not a guarantee to get into the second qualifying session. Of course you use more tyres and energy to try and get into that session, so we want to try and avoid that here today and trying to get ourselves up into the top position so we can guarantee a position going into qualifying 2. But a quick update for you on the left hand side of your screen, you can see Fabio Quartararo. Joan Mir has just crashed there actually, had some good lap and good pace coming in for the world champion. Valentino Rossi there in 6th place as Pecco Bagnaia, the 3rd place man in the championship right now, has just crashed. I'm not sure where he's crashed. It seems to be a bit of an issue with the qualifying and practice sessions recently, where for some reason all the riders just keep crashing out and just not really doing any decent qualifying laps. That has benefited us a tremendous amount in the past couple of races because it has given us some wonderful qualifying positions. But for now we are going to focus on our own part of this track and focus on this part of the qualifying session, or practice session should I say, as we are now going to be firing underneath the DHL sign. We'll get firm on the brakes in a moment's time for the final corner. A little bit out of shape there, hard on the brakes we went as we go into the left-hander. There is Johan Zarco who's gone down, the man who's 2nd place in the World Championship, as we bring on the power now. Power setting 3 enabled, short shifting all the time, up by 8 tenths of a second. Across the line we will go, and it's top position for Grant. So a quick recap: Grant, Quartararo, Mir, Vinales, Zarco, Binder, Espargaro, Rossi and Bagnaia are your top 9, and therefore all of those guys are going into Q2, or at least it seemed with Pecco Bagnaia going into Q1, but he's now up into Q2 to fight for pole position. So the goal is simple. We want to get in the top couple of rows. That is what we need to do right now, and it's already looking very promising for us. The temperature has increased somewhat, so the soft tyres and the soft rear might not last forever, but you better believe we're going to be certainly trying to get pole position here in Sepang. We've had some good pole positions recently. We haven't been able to do it all season until towards the latter stages of this wicked career mode. It's been really great, and honestly it's sad to think that the career mode is kind of coming into an end. Of course I will do more MotoGP 21 career mode, but I think I'm going to have a little bit of a break and focus on some other content first, and then we'll come back after a difference, if you will, a little bit of a break from MotoGP 21 in the virtual sense and in the real sense as well. I'm quick to mention, actually, I haven't really mentioned it, and I guess I'll mention it now, because why not, you guys watching the video. I have re-signed with Aprilia for next season, so the next season we do, I will be sticking with Aprilia, because whether or not we win the World Championship this season, I want to try and win a World Championship with Aprilia, and if we win one this season, then let's try and go back to back. Usually when I play MotoGP career modes, I never stay with the same bike. I just jump ship the second season and then try and get onto something new, but I want to try something different this year, and I want to try and take at least one World Championship with the same manufacturer that believed in us to start it all off at the start of the season with this factory Aprilia. The Aprilia is fantastic, and I also want to try and get the achievement for completely filling and completely developing a motorcycle. So from the scratch all the way to completion, a full upgraded motorcycle, and why not let it fly with the Aprilia RSGP. So with that out of the way with, going underneath the DHL sign, we are going to be tackling our first qualifying lap here today, and of course I think it's going to be a pretty decent lap, if I do say so myself. Going into the left-hander of turn 15, Quartararo is currently provisional on pole position with a 158.718 as Grant then fires up the Aprilia RSGP, getting across the line. Is this going to be top position? And it certainly is. It's a 158.403 for the man on board the Aprilia, the championship leader of course for the very first time this season. Going into the first corner then here in Sepang, a decent amount of speed going into that first corner. I do feel rather strong on the brakes. It's certainly what we've found has benefited us so much this season, and that is our confidence on the braking. Being the last of the late brakers has certainly helped us so much this season. We're on the right hand side now for turn 3. We're going into the difficult right-hander in a moment's time for turn 4. I feel like I go a little bit early in that corner there, and I think I've done it once again as we go too tight and onto the apex. We've lost a lot of time there, lost about 0.4 of a second, but we'll still continue, because just because you made a mistake does not mean you might be able to improve in another area. So of course, with the feeling of that we've already made the mistake, now it's a case of just continue to push and hopefully don't make any more mistakes, I guess. So now into the right-hander of turn 7, a difficult corner as well. Very, very difficult sort of corner to manage going into that first corner. You have to make sure you're braking and just slowing the motorcycle down, but just enough to still maintain speed and enough to make sure you hit the apex of that corner as well. Now for turn 9, one of the slowest corners in the Grand Prix calendar. Very difficult corner here in Sepang. It's a wonderful circuit, Sepang International Circuits. It's one of those tracks that I never feel like I do too well at, but I do think I enjoy it. I would probably say I enjoy it more than I do well at it, if that makes any sense. But into turn 12, we'll flick it to the right just briefly for turn 13. Now continue to hold that right-hander going into the 13th and 14th corner. There it is. Nicely done, as Quartararo has just crashed in this session. That is session over for Fabio Quartararo, as it's now Marc Marquez putting himself in second position, going underneath the DHL sign, and Pecco Bagnaia fights back with a 158.136. Now bear in mind, Bagnaia did come from the first qualifying session, and now he's at the top position in this session. Shout out to teammate Alicia Spargo taking second, but for us this lap is no good, so we'll go back to the pits, swap the tyres and regroup for a couple more laps. So a brand new soft and a brand new medium are the tyres of choice right now, as Joan Mir and Johan Zarco battling it at those top positions right now. Johan Zarco pushed back down to second as Joan Mir just took a 157.504. That's a stellar lap coming in from the world champion. He certainly looks to be on top of his game here today in Malaysia. Now onto the right hand side, we'll go for turn 3. Looking at the left hand side, Jack Miller just went up somewhere. He was ahead of us, but now he's gone even further beyond as Fabio Quartararo in 10th position, in a good spot, but we go a little bit too wide going into the 4th corner, and this lap has been ruined already. Goodness me. So catching up to where we would have been as we've continued that lap, we did lose 3.7 seconds, so the only chance we have now is to get in behind Joan Mir. In fact, Joan Mir is going to go into the pits. Actually, he's dropped the front. Bit of a mistake coming in from the world champion there. We have 40 seconds to get across the line, which is, of course, simple and clear enough as we have done it as we go across the line. Now, we have enough chances now to try and get a decent qualifying position. 10th place isn't quite going to cut it. I'm still confident we can do well from 10th position, but I don't want to be doing from 10th position. We want to be moving up a little bit higher just to make it easy on ourselves. So going into turn 2, I lost a little bit of momentum there. Not as smooth as I would have liked, as we now have a tenth of a second, a tenth and a half a second disadvantage to the lap that we had, which would put us into 10th position. But up into the first sector, we are quicker than Joan Mir, but we're not quicker than ourselves from earlier on. So going into the fourth corner, a little bit too tight to the apex, a bit of a minor mistake coming in from the way of the world champion, or World Championship leader, should I say, as we get onto the left-hand side for turn 5, holding the acceleration, bring it to the right-hand side, a little bit out of shape, going into turn 6, and we did lose a bit of time there. We've lost 4/10 of a second. This might not be enough to improve from 10th position. We could be starting our championship challenge in 10th position. Not ideal, to be truly honest with you, but I'm still confident we can do well. We've recovered well during the season when we've had bad qualifying results, but talking about bad qualifying, oh, that's definitely ruined now. It's definitely going to be a bad qualifying. We're going to be starting in 10th position because I've just messed it up going into the left-hander. Joan Mir is your pole position, Johan Zarco second, and another Frenchman in Fabio Quartararo takes 3rd position. We're starting our championship challenge from 10th place on the grid. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment and subscribe. Be sure to remember that the rest of the Grand Prix is at 8 PM tonight, and that will be our second to last Grand Prix of MotoGP, so don't miss it. So thanks for watching guys, I'll see you at 8 PM, and ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite sate your appetite, then why not watch some more Dot Race content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single Dr. Ace video.